Hey, friend girls, it's Kim.
And I'm Robin.
All right, so today we are doing our first ever interview. We want to do a series about poly relationships, and we have some experts. We have Yolanda and Ramon. So before we get started, I know it's so many different types of poly relationships. Can you tell us the different types of poly relationships?
Well, in my opinion, it's very specific to individuals. The dynamics can be as far as one person with multiple partners of their choosing, or people can have as many partners as they feel that they can handle. It's just, I think it varies per group, individual, couple, nesting, house, community, whatever they're part of. So it's a general question that I can only answer for me. I couldn't answer for anybody else.
Okay, for me, are you meaning like, because I know y'all did polyandry and was that what you were asking?
Yes.
Okay, so there's an umbrella, so that's why they use poly, because poly is many loves. And you got polyamory, which breaks down to polyamorous as well. And that's basically what Ramon and I practice. Because we're not looking to marry nobody else. So then you got polyandry, you got it's a lot. It's a lot. So we can't really, yeah, it's a lot.
It's very situation specific. So it's too many terms to try to put out there.
Okay. So basically you kind of answered that. So y'all do the one to where you guys are legally married, but you're not looking to marry anyone else.
Right.
No.
Right.
Which falls under the polyamory / polyamorous title.
Okay, that's good to know, because the only thing that I know is like when I watch Seeking Sister Wives, right? And I don't even know if that's like real. Like I don't even know. I don't even know how I feel about it. But usually they're looking for another like wife. So that's good to know, because I didn't know that you could not really have a wife and it's just bringing another person in. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we don't practice that whole bringing another person in. We're that couple that dates separately, but there are people, which is called a triad, that date together.
Right.
And we kind of started out, well, he had a girlfriend and it kind of just, her and I kind of just trickled, to get, somehow we ended up together. So we ended up in a triad.
Yes, that's exactly.
And then they broke up, and then it was her and I.
Oh gosh. Okay. And that's crazy, because that was one of the questions that I had, that was like, if you're dating someone, is your spouse able to date them as well?
Well, if that's the understanding that they have. I've dated people in the past that she had no interaction with. In the same way, the other way around, she's dated people that I've had no interaction with. So that's not. She's free to date whomever, whenever, under whatever circumstances, as long as she's comfortable, treated right, happy, and all that good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I do have a question. Who came up with the idea of having a poly relationship? Was this something that was mutual, or one brought the idea to the other?
Yeah, it was one of them sitting at home talking, and she was telling me about how she felt about certain things that she wasn't comfortable with talking to other people, and it was like, okay, cool. We talked about it for a minute. And then it just we didn't bring it up for a while. Then one day we were just talking one day, and it's just kind of transitioned from that.
It's just one of those things with us. It just kind of transitioned over that way. It was talked about. Don't get me wrong. It had been talked about.
Okay.
Because we did practice
Swing.
swinging.
Yeah, we started out swinging.
We started out swinging.
Okay.
Okay.
And I wasn't, I'm not the swinger. I'm really not like, yeah, because I like to make connections.
Okay.
So I wasn't, I ain't gonna say uncomfortable because it gave me that freedom to be me, you know, without judgment.
Okay.
Because it's a bunch of people get this idea of, oh, they just having sex. And it's not, because you can meet, I'm still friends with people I've met, what, 11, 12 years ago. And I've made some like really good connections, best friends, and never even thought about anything sexual with them.
Okay.
So I'm not, so for me, that wasn't what I wanted.
Okay. So before we go any further, I know you brought up swinging. Can you explain to the other people the difference between, okay, swinging and then the type of relationship that you have? Because some people, I'm not gonna say they never heard of it, but it may be new to other people.
Right. So for me, my definition of swinging is you have people that are are free to be in a sexually charged environment where each couple or individual have their own set of rules of things that they do or what they don't do. So it's just swinging is more of a sexual community, and poly for me is more of a love connection community.
Okay. I like how you broke that down.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I got a better understanding of that. That makes sense.
Now that's not to say it can't happen in swinging, but that's not the general, in my opinion, the general idea of the swinging community.
Okay. All right. So
you know, people that started out
as swinging, met partners, and had beautiful relationships, got married,
everything. So
everything.
So that stigma that is ill, that society looks at, like ill.
Yeah, I know people we know people that met in the swinging lifestyle that have been married 20 years.
Yeah.
I love that. That's interesting.
People that met in Facebook groups and they both were involved in the swinging, and they've been married almost as long as we have. So
Okay. So I got a question for you, and you kind of touched on it, but I want to kind of know, like, I want you to kind of go in depth a little bit. So do you guys meet the other person? And when I say meet, like, do they come over? Do you guys hang out? Or is just like one tell them, oh, I met somebody, and you just kind of like let it be whatever it's gonna be?
Well, her and I both view that question differently.
Right.
So for me, I don't necessarily need a play-by-play. I don't need to know, like, if she meets a guy and she's talking, she don't have to come home and say, oh, I met this guy, we talking. I don't need to know that. That's me. So she can, well, you know, you don't want to tell me you met a guy and y'all talking, and then a month later, nothing else happens out of it. So I think I view it more like, same way how you met, you dated your husband, and if she has any significant others, how they met. I think it should transition that same way from my standpoint.
Mm-hmm. For me,
You kind of go detective a little bit.
You want to know everything?
No. For me, I'm more, because there's so many terms. I'm what's considered, I adjust, because they have like what you call table, and then parallel. Table is where, like you said, they come around, hang out, come to the house, or you go in group settings, go out in a group, and then you have parallel, which what I'm more comfortable with parallel, with is basically what he's saying, parallel, which we know about each other's, you know, potential or vetting person that we're talking to or in a relationship with. So what? Yeah, I'm more comfortable with the whole, I know, but that her and I don't have to like intertwine. But I have, you know, met a few, I ain't gonna say few because it ain't been that many. Don't want y'all to think that was just like that. It's not few, But I've met all of them.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah, I've met, or we've known them before,
Yeah,
or we've already been friends with the people that he has talked to, because all of them didn't lead to relationships. Some of them just led to friendships.
Okay.
You know, friends.
Okay.
So everything wasn't like I said, that's what poly gives you, the freedom of, okay, yeah, I can potentially date this person, but just because I'm talking to this person, it may not lead to dating.
Okay. Okay.
And that's why I said it wasn't all about sex.
Okay.
It's not all about sex, it's all about the connections you make, the people you meet.
Okay.
Because I have this, what they call a comic. Her and I are really close, really close. And he teases us, he's like, y'all the most non-couple I've ever met. But we've never had any sex, thought about having sex. We've never been intimate, but when we're around each other, people see that connection that we have. Okay. So that's why I say every poly is different for everybody. And yeah, I really care about her. She cares about me, and we could not talk for months or a year, but as soon as we connect right back to each other, it's like we never even stop talking.
Okay. Okay.
So for us, well, for me, I can't speak for us, but for me, I don't really have to but when if he leaves, I do prefer to have her number just in case, something happens. Right. Yeah. Just in case something happens, and she has my number in case something happens. Mm-hmm. And it's the same way with him. I'm different because he has said I overshare. I overshare. I tell him stuff, but I just think, and he says I'm truthful to a fault. So I tell him more than I should, but I'm learning. Like I said, this is still even though this has been some years. But you still learn. You still learn. You still grow. You still mature.
Okay. Okay. So how was it? I'm gonna go back to the beginning when you decided to get into this the poly relationship. Who I know was kind of nervous at first. I can only imagine that you guys are nervous at first. Okay, is this real? I'm really gonna do this. Who found someone first?
You? Yep. That person? Because we won't say names, because for their privacy. We'll just say.
Just whisper it to him so he know.
That was our first one.
No, it wasn't. Oh shit, I forgot about her.
That was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Yep. Because her and I was just talking the other day. Remember we was.
I know y'all was on the. Yeah, she called you when she was the first one.
Yeah. That was horrible. Yeah. That went horrible.
But she was a good friend.
She went, but she what? But she turned into my best friend. That's one of the ones that turned into my best friend. Okay. And because her and I actually just talked about this the other day. We just talked about it.
Wow.
But, yeah, we just literally her and I talked about it, and it was new. We were learning, and
yeah. That was the first one. Yeah,
it was something he had did without talking to us, because at that point, because we were new, we wasn't out. We hadn't told anybody, but I
think she posted something on Facebook.
Yeah.
And tagged us in it.
Yeah.
Talking to us about it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I really love me more.
So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And it didn't really rub you the wrong way. It rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah. Let's keep it real. It rubbed me the wrong way.
I like that.
Okay.
So it rubbed me the wrong way. And when it rubbed me the wrong way, I was just like, and he saw how hurt I was, and he took a step, I removed myself from the situation. He came up with that final decision himself, but he based it off of how I felt, which now I feel bad because, we learned. Because that was something, if he wanted to continue, he should have been able to.
Yeah.
Because, he shouldn't have based it off of my feelings, but he did. But her and I, we didn't talk for a while. And then she just reached out. I think she reached out to you first.
Yeah,
she reached out to him first. And then he was like, give her a little bit, more, your time. And then that's when her and I talked. And we both kind of cried and, stuff. And, that's like, ooh, that's my homegirl. That's my ace. And some things happen that way because sometimes you're not meant to be with that person like that. You're probably meant to be with that person as friends. And we like, we're like I said, you get friendships out of it too. Everything doesn't end on bad terms.
Yeah.
Now I've got a question. How long were you married before this poly started? Like, like when did it come up? When did it come about?
We started before. We had the conversation before we got married.
Oh, okay.
You sure?
No, yeah, I'm positive.
When we was doing the thing and we said when we got married, it was gonna stop, but then it didn't stop. And then we kept.
No, when we did the thing, we was married already.
That's what I'm saying.
We was already
we started
married.
before.
We started swinging.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But she said poly.
Oh yeah, poly was after. Yeah, poly was after.
Yeah. See, we've been together so long, we got our own little language.
Yeah.
It's the thing. I love it.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
So
So
how
we got
long was
our own language, as y'all can see.
Yeah, it was after.
So you were swinging before you got married. You got married and then you decided to do poly. How long was it after you were married before you decided that?
Wow.
It was a while. Like I said, it's really hard to say because it was more of a transition.
Right.
It's more of a transition than an actual like, okay, we're gonna be poly from here on out. It was just like we just kind of was one of them gradual things.
Yeah.
It just never was it's really hard to say, but
I think it had to be at least 4.
oh yeah.
It had to be about 4 years, maybe about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Because we were still living in the city then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. We was living in the city then. Yep. So yeah, it had to be about
About 4 or 5 years after. Once we transitioned. Yeah. That's all right.
about
Okay.
4 or 5 years.
Okay. So my question is, how do the finances work in a poly relationship?
What am I thinking? I broke apart and fell off in the deep end. Quicker than a hanger, I'm sinking. Chest is too tight, I'm not breathing. Gotta get my hair out, so leaving. Hit her up and go out on the weekend. I bet she getting sick of all this waiting. Time, pick no side, just face it. Bad time, good time, red time. I just wanna ride out.